here. That. Send out your 3 messages of gratitude. Anybody have any aha, awareness, or awakening happen this morning?
Yes, I did, but it's not personal development related.
Ahas are good. Ahas are good. This is about life. This isn't just about business.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I had an aha moment. I was just looking at a Bitcoin chart and found a perfect entry.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, perfect entry of gold and Bitcoin. They hit the same time.
Excellent. There you go.
Thank you.
See, what happens is that perfect timing is always happening. Sometimes we're not perfectly paying attention. So, congratulations. This is going to get hot in my room. So, I just figured I had to be with the cool kids. I had to put my robe on. So, good morning. Let me hit the record here. Now we're recording on Zoom. Hey, good morning, Misfits. It is January 20th, 2020. I'm sure there's probably some kind of scientific astrological conversations of 2020. So I just appreciate you all being here this morning. My name is Sean Murphy. I'm your head misfit. For those of you that are new to the call, we've been doing these calls since December 18th, 2018. And I started the calls with the idea, the concept that I can't complain anymore if I'm not willing to do something. So I got frustrated with listening to some of these instructors, quote mentors, who were telling people, who were moving people for their benefit, not for the listener's benefit. And I said, I don't think that's right. Couldn't complain anymore and said, I'm going to start a call. Last year I did a call for the entire year up until like June 20th of 2019. It was called Get Out of Your Effing Way, where the F stood for fear, frightened, frustrated, fatigued. And I had some people who came onto the call during the course of the year that said, I had no idea this call existed. I didn't get on because of its name. So I kind of grew up a little bit in December of this past year. And I said, you know what, I'm going to change the name. And then that's when we started the Daily Awakening call. Since the beginning of the year so far, we've shared with over 1,000 people. It's probably now over 1,300 people have been on these calls in the last 20 days. And that's all because of you. That's because you decided to show up. You decided to share. You decided to be the person that said, you know what? I'm going to work on sharpening my own saw. So for that, I'm grateful. Let me just look here. I'm looking in the comments. Good morning. Good morning.
Sean, you have your robe on.
I know. Yes, I do. Got to be with the cool kids. Good morning, Brittany. Bree said she had an awakening right after the call. Bree, would you like to share?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Sorry, I'm in the gym, so it might be a little loud, but yeah, yesterday when you were talking about suffering, and excuse me, I'm out of breath, I just got done with the set, but when you were talking about suffering and getting rid of when you ask the question, what do you choose in life, joy or suffering? And obviously I answered that question with joy, but I didn't fully understand or put into terms the fact that I have to get rid of my personal story of suffering. And so it's funny because as soon as the call ended yesterday, I actually called my mother and I asked her, I said, do you remember when I was a kid and I used to just talk to everyone and I didn't care who you were, I didn't care what background you were from, but I would just talk to you and talk your ear off. And she said, yeah. And I said, do you remember out of nowhere, I just became antisocial and just felt like, in a sense, like I was a mute. There were family members that I would go around and they'd be like, is that the same little girl that used to talk our ears off? Now she just doesn't say anything. And so I came to the realization, or had an awakening moment, that I've always been this person that has motivated people and continue to put encouraging words into other people. But for some reason, throughout my childhood and as I grew up, I for whatever reason, just felt like my opinion didn't matter. And so I started to kind of close in and like feel like, well, I just rather keep my opinion to myself, or, those words of encouragement as people are going through things in life. But after yesterday's call, I realized that my opinion does matter. And in order to fulfill the dream that I have, to become a motivational speaker and give words of wisdom to kids and open my organization, I have to realize that my story is valuable, that my voice matters. And just hearing the call yesterday made me realize that I do need to get rid of that old story of suffering, to keep quiet and not share my opinion, because it is valuable. And I even look up to you and Nano a lot, because your calls inspired me so much that I now am in the position where I'm getting to the drawing board and formulating my own type calls like this. And so yesterday that was kind of my awakening, and I'm just very, very happy and grateful to be on these calls every single morning, no matter where I am. Even right now when I'm in the gym, I'm still going to go back home and wait for that recording to drop so I can watch it again and take notes again. So I just thank you so much, man, and so much love since again from Joplin, Missouri, man, because you changed my life in tremendous ways. Like I can't even explain, man.
So here's what's amazing. Where was this story of awakening? Where did it reside before you flipped the switch? Yesterday we talked about with Christine, we talked about just before the light goes on in the room, can't you see the entire room? Just before you had this awakening, just before you made the phone call to your mother, I'd encourage you to sit down when you get back home to figure out what was it, or even while you're doing sets there. I think that's in the gym, right? That's where you're working out.
Yes.
I've driven by gyms before. What was it just before the thought came into your mind to go have that conversation with your mom? Think about this. This is important. You need to listen to what your soul was awakening to before the awakening happened. Think about you being dead asleep in bed, and all of a sudden there's this barking dog outside, there's this siren outside, there's this somebody laughing in the other room as you wake up, and it's something that's different, but it's something that's supposed to be there, and you had no idea, right? Imagine you woke up to a party that was going to happen at your house, and you had completely forgotten about it, and all of a sudden you wake up, oh my God, today's the party, and you get all excited. And you're getting ready for the road trip, getting ready for whatever it is that excites you about a party. That's where you're at right now. But it was always on the calendar. It was always on the calendar. Your heart just kept erasing it from yesterday and moved it to today, and erased it from yesterday and moved it to today. And your heart kept saying, whenever you're ready, I don't know how to write it any darker on the calendar. I don't know how to write it to where you can see it. Well, you finally felt it.
Yeah, definitely.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it definitely does. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
I love it. All right, go back to work. Lift the weights for me, would you? So here's funny what our conversation. Anybody else have an aha this morning? Because here's what our conversation is about this morning: listening, learning how I still treat energy negatively. How do we listen to ourselves? How are we listening to ourselves? How are we treating the stuff we have in our bodies, in our minds? Aha moments. So Gift asks, what are aha moments? Where you went, oh my goodness, where that thought, that feeling that you have, that you were working on, that you were hoping would come true, all of a sudden popped in, and you didn't know the how. That's what really makes an aha moment. Sometimes when we don't know the how, we feel it, we're okay with it, and all of a sudden, but when we ask, when it happens to us, and all of a sudden, sometimes it's even a quantum leap, where we go from point A to point B without passing the time in between. An aha moment is a memory that triggers and says, yeah, the light bulb over your head, Manny. I got it. Yep. So listening. Learning how listening isn't. See, I did these slides because this was from last time I touched this slide was October 10th of last year. Listening is not what you hear, it's what you don't hear and what you choose to ignore. See, Bree talked about this morning about this awakening that happening, saying, wasn't I the little kid who would talk your ear off, inspire you and move you forward and get you pumped up? And then all of a sudden she started listening to something else. But now she remembered that story. See, she couldn't have this aha if it wasn't already inside of her. The aha is a way of the universe bringing it to you and the heart bringing it to you in such a way it's almost unignorable. You can't ignore it anymore. So, for listening, inattentiveness. I gotta move this while it's over there. Inattentiveness, fake attention, or pseudo listening. How many of us have ever pseudo listened? Nice big word for a farm boy from Ohio. How many of us have ever been asked a question? We went, what? Or we answered the question and didn't even know the question. And the person who we're having the conversation with goes, what are you talking about? What was the question? What if you just took a breath the next time you had a conversation with somebody and you chose to listen to them? What's Covey say? Seek first to understand, then be understood. Focus on delivery, rehearsing, interrupting. Sometimes we're rehearsing. How many of us have ever, let me put it this way. I'll make it easier for us. How many of us know someone, we might be very close to that person, but how many of us know someone that can't wait for the other person to stop talking so they can tell their story? Hurry up, get done with your stuff so I can tell my story. I can't wait till they shut up so I can tell my story. I got a good story. Interrupting. How many of us interrupt or finish other people's sentences? Avoid difficult or uninteresting material. Oh my God. Yeah, they even cut you off. I had a release of emotion and tears on Friday and just felt so amazing. I felt 10 pounds lighter in just 10 minutes. I realized I can't be afraid of letting go. So Shami, thank you. Thank you for sharing. You just made it even more real, didn't you, in typing it out? This is what journaling does. Hope that made it into your journal. Isn't it funny how when we just cry, we cry an ounce of tears and it's 10 pounds of weight? The fact is that sometimes when we listen to ourselves, we can change the way we operate. We can change the way we make things happen. Poor listening leads to assumptions and misunderstandings. These lead to errors, ineffective decisions, and or costly mistakes. So let's go back to Bree this morning, where she was listening to how she became maybe this less than motivating, less than openly conversing little soul that she was. Because see, when she starts to speak again, when she starts to have this fun that she's having now, she'll be that little girl again. Folks, the way I act, when I was 5 years old, I would walk up to people and say, hi, my name is Sean Murphy. My dad's name is Michael. What's yours? And I would walk through the entire church saying good morning to everybody. I was just this little bundle of joy, which I've decided to keep. At 14, I had lost that. At 14, I said, I'll never have another bad day again because of something that happened in my life. You can't be this goofy and be 54. You got to be 5 years old, 6 years old inside. It's just my body's growing up. Doesn't mean I have to. What are you listening to? What's the soul you're listening? Poor listening leads to hurt feelings. How many times do we have hurt feelings? How many times are we listening? We catching the box that they're throwing at us. You're not good enough. Oh, they said I'm not good enough. I have to listen to that. An interlocutor, somebody that takes up space in a conversation. How many of us sometimes have prospects that way? They just happen to be passing by and we wind up talking to them. How do you get them engaged? How do you get them to listen? You know why they may be not listening? Why they're not partaking in the conversation? is because the conversation is all about who. Let me tell you how smart I am. Let me tell you about my comp plan. Let me tell you why I'm doing so well. Let me tell you why you're not doing so hot. Let me tell you why you're doing that. Because that may not be what you're saying, but that's exactly what they're hearing. Look at how this people participate. We're the most connected society that's ever existed in the history of this universe, of our planet. And yet so many people are so alone. How is that possible? We are absolutely so connected, but there's nobody to listen to us. Y'all can do one thing real easy. If you want somebody to listen to you, if you want somebody that'll always be there to listen to you, sometimes drop to your knees and just say a prayer. Somebody sent me this one where Steve Harvey was speaking. I'm guessing, I didn't see where he was speaking at, but Steve Harvey, it was a 30-minute video where he was speaking. I think it was at Jamaica College in Jamaica. And it was pretty amazing, the conversation that he had there. What are those ideas that you hear and think, why not me? If you've ever said, why not me, there's a part of you that's saying, that's absolutely you. Which part of you says, why not me? Your head or your heart? The logic or the emotion? Your heart knows that's you. It's your brain trying to keep you stuck, keep you stuffed in a corner. It's all of your old stories. It's your aunt, your uncle, your mom, your dad, somebody, one of those 118,000 times you heard, no, can't work, won't work, isn't going to work. And it says, well, why not me? Well, what would be a better question? Why am I perfectly positioned to be in that spot? Why do I have all of the talents, capabilities, and skills to get to the next level? Why do I have all of those? Why am I perfectly qualified to reach the next rank in my business? Why am I perfectly positioned in this moment to reach the top 3 ranks in my business before the year end? Why am I so absolutely amazing? Because the why that we normally hear when we're growing up is, why did you do that? Why are you so stupid? Why are you always getting in trouble? Why are you getting yelled at by the teachers? And then I need you to ask that person their why, sitting across. Hey, listen, we're in a business of cooperation. We're in a business where you do it for yourself, but not by yourself. Tell me your why. I want to make a lot of money. Oh, then you should get started. Press hard. There's 3 copies. What? Are you hearing or are you really listening? Do you know the difference between the two? Are you hearing or are you listening? Are you listening to what they're not saying? How many of you really, I'm going to speak to the guy's mind right now because that's kind of where I live. How many of you, when a girl, see, I cannot pick up on signals, like dating signals, when I was 30 years ago. I'd be out with the guys and we'd be doing something, we'd be traveling somewhere with something, and they go, man, she likes you. I'm like, who likes me? I could tell it. I could walk into a bar and I could tell you pretty much every person's issues and challenges that they've had in life. Just sitting there at a bar, watching them how they drink their beverage. I could pretty much tell you all about their life. But somebody coming on to me or wanting to hit on me or whatever however you say, I get chills even thinking about it. I couldn't pick that up if you hit me with a hammer. I could never pick that up. They're like, man, she really likes you. Who likes me? Those signals never got past this potato head. They just didn't. So when you're sitting across from somebody, what are you hearing that they're not saying? What are you hearing that they're not saying? Are you hearing anything they're not saying? Ladies, sometimes you have this very intuitive skill that is wired into you. It's wired into women. just from a self-defense mechanism. You've got to be able to pick up on a room, pick up on a situation, feel an energy before somebody else does. What are you listening for that they're not saying, that you could never hear in the conversation? What are you listening for? And you know what you have to do in order to make that happen? You've got to be present. Bree talked about it this morning when she said, you know, I had this awakening. I had this little aha. I went back and I called my mom. She even engaged other people in her vision, in her dream, in her conversation. She engaged other people so she could hear the rest of the story. Are you listening or are you ignoring? How many times in relationships do we sit quietly and not hear a thing in a conversation? It's two monologues that happen to bump into each other as opposed to two dialogues. Noah talked about him and his bride having a conversation over the weekend where they just really sat down and they had a dialogue. Two people having a conversation where energy goes into the pool of communication, as opposed to one saying, jumping in, getting out, and the other one jumping in, getting out. The two of you can swim around. It's like Leo, two of you. It's hard to dance if you're the one person dancing, unless you put up the one video that we've all seen where the guy's dancing on the hill. Rhonda Bird Parker shared it the other day, where the guy's dancing on the hill and it talks about leadership. And then there's the first follower. And then all of a sudden, everybody else is in it inside of a 3-minute little video. Dialogues like that, if you're the only one talking, you may as well as get a sign, "We'll do anything for money." Because you're crazy if you're the only one talking and there's two people in the room. Participate. And it doesn't hurt to listen. I got to tell you, it warms your heart. How much time do you spend listening to your environment? Let's just take the next 30 seconds and listen. What do you hear now that you didn't hear a second ago? Can you listen a little bit harder? Can you hear your heart? Can you hear the love of your family? Hear the love of my family? Yeah, can you hear it in your soul? And it sings. Can you hear the silence between the notes? What did you become aware of in your room that you knew was there, but you didn't hear before? This is what happens. This is when you take yourself out of what's called habitualization. The buzzing of a light overhead, the sound of the air conditioner or the heater on, the sound of cars going by that you're actually absolutely hearing for maybe the first time. But we take in about 6 to 8 million bits of information per second. Per second, the body is in constant, the brain is constantly looking for what? Will it kill me, or how fast can I recognize the pattern? And all of the things that you heard were part of the pattern that existed in your life, but you slowed down for just a moment to actually hear the pattern that's happening around you. And you made it even more real because you brought it into your conscious mind. All of these things that are happening around us are making up our day. The thing that Bree heard that caused her to call her mom, that caused her to have this whole memory of her as this child, this energetically outgoing, gregarious little girl who used to motivate you and talk your ear off. She heard that. It's been a while since she heard that. She was listening for the clues. Jim Rohn says that's a clue. When have you listened to your environment? When have you just sat quietly? You don't know what to journal? Listen to your environment and journal the sounds you hear in the environment. What did you become aware of that you didn't know before? This is what happens when you pray. Praying is slowing down your mind slow enough that, and then the challenge is we pray and we don't listen for the answer. We say things like, you won't believe what happened today. And God's up there slapping his forehead and she's going, oh my God, I could have had a V8. You chucklehead, I've been sending that to you for months. And you'll say, you won't believe what happened to me. What are you listening for? Oof. How many of you have sat in your child's room when they're sleeping and listened to them sleep? And you could write books of love from that moment. Yesterday morning, when I go to wake up Mason, if I'm not standing downstairs with my mic unmuted yelling at him, for some of you who got to hear that the other day, I'll go upstairs with the puppies and they go tearing up, I mean literally like just tearing up the steps, spinning out on every step, because they know we're going to go wake up Mason if it's the weekend and it's a little bit later. I go, let's go get the baby. And Beamish is, he's up there. He gets so excited. He paws at the door. And then I go down and lay down in bed with him. And I just snuggle with him. Now here's the great news. Listen, yesterday, January 19th was a red letter day for me. Why? Because now I'm starting to get Mason's clothes. The clothes sharing are going the other way. He's getting too big for his stuff, which is perfectly scary. But I went and I laid down with him and I snuggled with him. And the thing that I loved most is that when I wrapped my arm around him, he gave out that little groan. He's 16. That's not going to happen much longer. You follow me? I listened to the moment. I could have easily been doing something else. Follow those moments your heart are telling you to say, go do whatever. It could be go sit in the park. It could be walk down the hall and tell somebody in your office that you really, really appreciate them for all they do. It could be calling one of your, that's what the calls in the morning are to do. It's not to necessarily push out. It's to let those who are listen. It's to let those who are looking, who are listening for the fact that, does anybody love me? You happen to send them a message because you were listening to the universe. You go, oh, you know who I'm going to send a message? I'm going to send Tony a message. I'm going to send Ralph a message. I'm going to send Bob a message. And you send it, and what do they say? What happened? I needed that. This was perfectly timed. Do you realize you can't not hear stuff? Even when you're sleeping, you're hearing stuff. This is why it's so important to have an environment when you sleep that will work with you, work for you, and do the things necessary for you. Do you put music on? Do you listen to binaural beats at night? Do you listen to the things that will drive your mind and allow you to awaken to yourself? You've got 4 hours of sleep. You've got 8 hours of sleep, however much time you sleep. Imagine if you spent that time awakening your soul, awakening your dream, awakening the fire within you. What if you gave your soul a chance to do that? What if you put music on? What if you had aromatherapy in your room? What if you had all of these things that we know that are important, but we just don't necessarily do it? Your brain is looking for a way. Your brain is looking for an excuse for you to be successful. It's got to get over the old story. It's got to get over the old story that you're not good enough, you're not tall enough, you're not strong enough, you're not dark enough, light enough, your hair's too curly, not curly enough, your hair's too short, it's too long, it's not long enough. Whatever the story is, your brain has been working on that at 70,000 thoughts a day. It's time for you to give it a chance to slow down. I can't be around people who are like that. I got to be going, I got to be going, I got to be going. So how's that working for you? There will be a moment when you slow down. It's when you get called back home. And then you're thinking, I didn't do enough. I wasn't there enough. Requirements. Where does the meaning of what you hear come from? See, when Bree heard the call this morning and she said, I'm going to do this, I got to go do this, she wound up saying, she called to get clarification on the meaning. She talked to her mom. What if you sat the next time you sat across from a prospect and you were so engaged in the words coming out of their mouth that part of your goal was, part of your success was, part of your company's comp plan was, is tell us where that feeling came from. Tell us where that thought came from. What if you had to interpret the message they're saying as to why they would say that? I'm having a conversation with Shami, and Shami said something, and because of our age difference, because of our gender difference, because of our cultural difference, it's not, well, why doesn't she get what I'm saying? Well, she's not hearing what I'm saying. What if I were to say something to the effect of, what she just told me tells me about her life. Where did the actions, what actions in her life had to take place in order for that message to come out of her mouth? Listen, when you start to do this with people, when you start to give them the space to listen to the story, right? This is empathy. This is why people, I think, sometimes become very safe around me or feel very safe around me pretty darn quick, is because I'm listening to the story they're not saying, but it's the story that tells me how we're connected from eons ago. So therefore, when they see their words resting upon me, falling into my spirit, sitting on my heart, they're like, he understands me. I speak their language, and their language is what is the story of their history that allows this message to be said at this moment? What does the meaning of what you hear, where did it come from? Can you hear the meaning change? How many of us heard Bree change this morning when she talked about getting excited? She's been excited all along. She's always said, I feel energetic. I love these calls. I'm excited about it. Yet there was a moment where it went to the next level. Did you hear the meaning change of excitement, of enthusiasm, of getting plugged in, of getting fired up? Nexting interprets only our personal possibilities. Our brain is constantly nexting. There's about 13 or 14 conversations that your brain is running right now based upon you hearing me before. If you've heard me before, you're doing other things. Listen carefully. This is just human life. If you're taking notes, you're listening to something else, you're getting the kids ready. Because my voice is familiar, my pattern is familiar, your brain is running some patterns right now called nexting. The reason you can understand me and still do something else is because you hear a pattern in my voice. You hear a pattern in my the way I send messages out, the way the tone and the speed of my voice. And you're, yep, that's Sean. Yep, that's Sean. Yep, that's Sean. Ooh, Sean's going down that path. Okay, that was one of the things I had next in my mind. So you're nexting, listening to me. But if all of a sudden I was having a very serious conversation with you and I said aardvark, what? Did he just say aardvark? What the hell is he talking about, aardvark? What did that have to do with the method? I broke the pattern. This is why when you have a conversation, sometimes it's important to just slow down. And sometimes with our enthusiasm, sometimes it's okay to speed up a little bit, to change the pattern, to get people to focus on the words, to be able to hear the fast canter that's happening. If you recorded your last presentation, how many times did you break a pattern? How many times was there a pause in there so that their nexting was broken up, and you got, instead of nexting, you got a little bit of attention to the message. If you've ever left a prospect and said, why don't they get this? They seem like they were so into it. It's because you allowed them to next themselves right back to where they started. How much more can you hear in their conversation? You know, it's funny, when I start having some conversation with my students, the people that hang around me a lot, they'll start having a conversation with me and they'll ask a question, and I just listen and I go, yeah, I know what you're going to say. It's like, okay, then why did you ask? Well, because I wanted to hear if you were going to actually say it, but I know that's what you're going to say. So, wow, let's move on. Okay. And I never answered the question. It's because sometimes, listen carefully, sometimes when people ask questions, they don't even hear themselves asking the question. And if we ask the question, what are the chances are we know the answer? How many of you have heard somebody come on and ask me a question? What would you suggest? What would be your advice? What have I done in the past? I've repeated the question back to them as if I was the student, asked them to mentor me, to give me advice. And what do? They come up with a solution, they come up with a suggestion, they come up with a solution. What do you have to stop listening to? Ooh, smack. That one there. Ooh. I'm on a small talk diet. I'm going to do my best to find something we can go dive in the deep end of this pool of dialogue in. People are interesting enough. People are capable enough. People are wildly unique enough that you can have a deep conversation and still be treading water. Today's conversation is called listening. It's episode 332, I think. But it'll be there. It'll be the most recent one. It's pushed to YouTube. It's there. Become immersed in sound and silence. What belief do you have towards listening? Have you ever asked yourself that? Most of you can tell me how much money you want to make. Most of you can tell me what rank you want to hit in your company. I would ask you, so what would be your goal on listening? What? Oh, so you didn't even hear that, did you? What would be your goal on listening? What are you talking about? You can't hear the question. Let me say it a different way. What would be your goal on listening? 10 ways you can listen more. Breathe before I listen. Breathe before you go into a conversation. Breathe before you answer a question. Comprehend better. 3 to 5 levels. 3 to 5 levels means when somebody asks you something, when somebody gives you a statement, you know, that I hear that a lot. That sounds like a very powerful idea or ideal. Tell me more about that. And what if you were to probe 3 to 5 more times on that particular topic without going, tell me more about that. Tell me again about that. What did you mean by that? What if you were to develop your skills in probing? Oh man, I love spaghetti. You know, I like spaghetti. I love spaghetti too. I enjoy it. My mom used to make these meatballs. Oh, tell me why that showed up. Give me a clue of why you mentioned that you love spaghetti. Is it spaghetti that you love, or is it the idea of being in love with something, having something you can get excited about that you wanted to share with me right now? Tell me more about that. So you have to become, it helps you when you become better at listening. When you find, how many of you have heard me stop somebody in their conversation and it was either a word they used or something they said that really, it just triggered an encyclopedia of information for those of you that are younger. Encyclopedias are what we used to pull off our shelf. That was our Google on our shelf. Encyclopedias. You may want to take a picture of that. You could actually post that in your Instagram chat today. Somebody talked about an encyclopedia. I hang around some old people. Yet sometimes there's answers that people give that's an encyclopedia of wildly amazing knowledge about them that we had no idea that existed. How many of us knew that Bree was a chatty box when she was a itty bitty kid? Some of you may know her, but the rest of us didn't know that. Now that tells us a whole story about this little amazing soul who is this little chatterbox, who maybe because of her beauty, maybe because of her stature, maybe because of her figure, wound up saying, you know, if I keep talking, guys keep coming on to me and people keep wanting to hang out with me, people keep wanting to get my digits. Am I allowed to say that? Get my digits? Yo, girl, give me your digits. And she's like, I'm just not going to talk to anybody. And because of the way she shows up in the world, because of the way she's attractive in the world, because of the way that she's this amazing soul, she just stopped talking because guys are idiots. And she types facts. If I get out my translation book here and look, I go, that must mean that makes sense. So now, Bree, just go be this hottie in the world that's this hottie to make other people, to inspire other people. Look at that. We didn't talk about this. She goes, that's exactly why I stopped. You know how I knew that? Because I heard her story. I look, 7% of the words, if we look at public speaking, everybody says, I got to get my words down. I got to get my script down. I got to practice my words. That's only 7% of what you do. 7% of success are the words you say. The other 93% is everything else the way you say it. Bree shows up in this, and I've only seen her on the two-dimensional screen. But when you see that beautiful soft skin and you see that smile when she really gets into her own energy, and you see that hair, and then you see some of the pictures when you post them on Instagram in different places. That's an amazingly gorgeous body based upon today's society. She stands out in her world. And you know what? Sometimes that sucks. Because she stands out because of what they see, not who they hear. So instead of, she's figured out ways. Ladies, you know how to do this. Sometimes you'll put on a big jacket or whatever. You'll do something to tone down your beauty, because your beauty sometimes gets converted because they see you beautiful, but you know what they're listening for? The sexual side. And it's like, I don't want to have to do that. Now listen, I was never a sex symbol. I was maybe the before picture. So I never had to worry about that. But you know how I understand that? You know how I can comprehend that? Because I've stood on stage in 30 plus countries, been translated into 40 languages. It happens in every language. There's this beautiful woman who I follow, who's part of my organization down in Costa Rica. I mean, she is absolutely model quality, 10, beautiful. I mean, it's just everything about her. And when you see her with her son, she turns into this little high school girl. And when I send my hearts and send my messages, I can tell it took 6 months of me being consistent, of sending her love, congratulating her, thanking her for being so amazing. She sends a message back in Spanish one day and she says, "You're really like this, aren't you?" I said, "You've noticed, haven't you?" And I was able to cross the red velvet road. And now we converse on a regular basis, just smiles and thank yous and hearts back and forth. But because of her beauty, there was such a wall there of everybody wanting to get. And then all of a sudden she realized there are a handful of us out there, and I think all of you on this call are included in that do just want to give love, that do just want to show up, that do just want to be there. What are you listening for? Fear of what we might hear. How many of us are afraid of what we might hear? If we start to listen, how many of us are afraid of what we might hear? When God booms down at you and says, "I created you for this moment." Yeah, but this moment sucks. Not really. It could get worse. It could get worse. I've created you for this joy. I've created you for this example. I've created you to lead the way in this area. What is the fear that we might hear? Maybe if we listened, we would hear that it's not the world telling us we're not good enough. Maybe it's us who've been telling ourselves we're not good enough. Maybe it'll be the awakening moment that Bree realizes that, listen, I don't have to take in. I can hear it. I don't have to file it. I don't have to journal every time somebody says something stupid to me, something crazy to me. They attempt to take me out of my energy zone. You could have started listening a long time ago. See, I want Bree to be aware, if she's still listening or when she's listening to the recording, I want her to be aware of that, this idea that she's now all of a sudden, she is this chatterbox, she is this spirit of joy, she is this spirit of emotion, of motivating, of inspiring other people, of just having some fun with other people. She is the soul. I hope that at some point she says, I could have done this. You know how long ago I stopped doing this so long ago. I'm so sad now. I could have done this a long time ago. Start today. Start today with joy and enthusiasm, because you just missed another moment of being the one you are awakening to, the one that you already have been. A lot of times, if you hear me, when somebody gives me some facts, meaning they give me some information that's a statement, there's no response from me, I'll ask the question, how does that make you feel? Where do you hear that? Where do you feel that in your body? Because all of this is stored in your body. When Bree had this awakening, there was a part of her in her body that remembered everything. Her body is completely rebuilt. Based upon science, her body is a whole new body. How does she even remember that when she was a little girl, she was this amazing little chatterbox of joy and happiness? How does she remember that? She's old enough that her body is completely, by cell generation and by time and by everything, her body is a completely different body. How did those memories carry over? Because they're stored in the body. They're stored in your cells. All of her memory cells, all of the cells of the moment when she was a little girl are gone. They're all new cells in her body. How does she remember that? Because it gets carried over when the cells duplicate. And what do they say about memories? 50% of them are not true, because we've adapted them, we've molded them, we've changed them. Then excited, once you hear the new ideas, only you can decide to ignore the other ones. There's a level of success. I did a little test, a little promotion in Telegram yesterday. I said, oh, I had this idea. I went, oh, I got an idea. There's a bunch of you that there's like sometimes 100, 200 clicks or 200 eyeballs that have seen a post of mine on Telegram, right? The link from Instagram. And yesterday when I posted up the new video yesterday, and I said, listen, the first 3 that tell me something, make a comment about this video, they'll get a 30-minute one-on-one with me. I got, you know how many comments I got on since January 1st to January 18th? You know how many comments I got? I think there's like 4 comments total in all 18 days. You know how many comments y'all made yesterday? 79. No, 39. 39 comments. Why? Because I listened to my marketing head that says, go do a contest. Go give something. See if you think you're as valuable as you think you are. See if anybody would actually give you a comment on your YouTube video for a one-on-one. See if your one-on-one is valuable. That's what I was listening for. And you know what? I guess it is. Because there was 39 or 49 comments on that video. Now, why didn't anybody comment on the other ones? If I'd have picked a different video, they'd have made the comment. Because I was listening. Yes, you were. Benno, and Lewis. Those are the top 3. And I'm going to be running more contests like that. Why? Because it's cool. Yes, Bree Bunny, you were one of the winners. What is it? And now listen, what did you guys hear? What were you just listening for? What were you just listening for? You were listening for, wait a minute, I missed out on something. How many of you forgot that Bree was this little chatterbox? Just for a moment, you forgot Bree was this little chatterbox because you are now listening. Here's my point. Yeah, so what I'll do is on Telegram or someplace, different places, if you go make a comment on the YouTube page and the comments here, so I will say this, if the comments are deeply tied to the video, maybe I'll pick another winner today. Somebody that just tells a great story. Because here's what I said. Here's the difference. Here's what they heard and here's what I said. I said, whoever makes a comment about this video, this was yesterday on Telegram, and this is all two-dimensional. The first 3 people who make a comment about the video will get a one-on-one, 30-minute one-on-one with me. And you know what the first 4 comments were? Done, done, done. Like, you didn't listen to the rules. And people who typed the done said, I win. What time can we do this? I go, you didn't win. You didn't listen to the rules. So if you go to Instagram, in my chat is the Telegram link, and you just click on that. And if you're not in Telegram, it'll ask you to be a part of it. Only because you can't put active links in Instagram posts. Yeah, they are conditioned for other contests, Brittany. You're absolutely right. But I don't want us to be like everybody else. I want us to be like us. All right, last couple of slides and then open up. So what's your desire? What do you have to change today to listen more accurately? What would happen when you listen to your soul and become more aware of your meaning filter? And here's the funny thing. As I was listening to the post and I was shocked. I'm literally shocked. I've had more, because of you guys, I've had more activity on my YouTube channel than I started. And I don't know how long ago I started, 2003 maybe? It's because somebody's listening. I could have stopped talking. What if I said, we're having 10 people on the call, we're having 15 people on the call. What would happen if I said in May of last year, you know what, this just ain't worth it. Before the A&MP, I go, you know what, before the A&MP, this just isn't worth it. I'm going to stop. We're having 20 people. I stand in front of audiences of thousands. I've stood on stage in front of, I don't know, almost 750,000 of people. Been translated into 40 different languages, whether it be simultaneous live translations through headsets or somebody standing on stage next to me having 2 people, one in Portuguese, one in French on this side. I could have said, this isn't worth it. And if I did that, we wouldn't have gotten to hear Bree's story this morning. And my life would have been a little bit less joyful. Wouldn't have met Nano. Wouldn't have met all of you. Funny how if we just keep going, the world keeps delivering to us what we're asking for. So, there you go. Love you, Leo. Appreciate you, brother. What'd you learn? What'd you like? If you've got a question, a comment, go ahead and raise your hand. Let's get to here. Raise your hand. Gisela, good morning. We've got Gisela, you're in Panama, right?
Yes, I'm in Panama. Hello, everybody. I'm so grateful for this call today, Sean, because I feel that listening is a weak point and a half. Because sometimes.
Hang on. So I understand it's a skill you can get better at.
Yes, exactly. It's a skill I want to get better at.
How many children do you have?
2.
2. You realize you're absolutely the most brilliant listener that ever existed on the planet for those children?
Yes.
Because when they couldn't speak, what could you hear? Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when they were sick, you could tell when they were sick, when their stomach was upset, or when they needed to go to the bathroom, or when they needed to do this, or when they needed to do that. You have this ability, you have this skill to be able to understand all of that. What happened was that because they're not necessarily family, maybe you're hearing them differently.
Yeah, because my thought process, I guess, when I'm having a conversation, I am this like fast-paced person. I'm like really fast. And maybe it's cultural. We Latinos tend to be fast.
No, really?
We're like, oh, it's fast.
Oh my God.
And when I find somebody that is, for instance, my husband, he's an American, and when he speaks, he thinks, he doesn't like to interrupt. He's like, and sometimes I'm thinking in my head, okay, get to the point, get to the point, get to the point. And when he doesn't get to the point, I interrupt. And obviously that's very frustrating. It doesn't get the communication flow. But I feel internally when somebody speaks very slow or very, like, it's just like my brain is like, okay, hurry up, get to the point. And I lose focus, I lose interest, and I interrupt. And it's something I want to, develop that skill, because we're in the business of people, and people come from different backgrounds, different varieties, different ways of life. And it's not good for me not to have, the level of listening skill that I need for this profession, for life in general. So I really want to work on listening.
So pay attention. Pay attention to your breathing. If at the end of every sentence where you know that in your dialogue there is a period, not a run-on sentence, but when you respond to this, I'm going to ask you a question, and it'll probably take a couple of sentences to answer it.
Okay.
I want you to pause for a count of 2 in your head, 1001, 1002, before you say the next sentence. And then I want to figure out where you feel this in your body. So, what's the weather like in Panama today?
It's sunny, bright, humid.
Tell me more.
It's a warm weather, great for being outdoors, to go to the beach. There's a lot of breeze.
So where do you feel this in your body? Where do you feel this like?
In my stomach, because
Yeah.
this is not my pace. Right.
So listen. So tell me this. Why do you feel something in your stomach? That's not your brain. That's not your heart. That's your reserve.
That's my what?
That's your reserve, right? Our head would have to be twice the size because of the amount of neurons that are in our stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And it travels to the brain through the vagus nerve. But here's how that all happens. Your heart is actually waking up. You know how you get pins and needles when you sit on your foot?
Mm-hmm.
Your body is waking up to a slower pace. And that's why you have this pain in your stomach, because that's not your head. You're not thinking that. It's your gut. And your gut is the one that it has the instinctive connection to you, to everything around you. And your gut is waking up going, oh, we can finally we can finally digest a conversation. And in digesting the conversation, we're going to be able to get every bit of nutrient out of the next conversation we have with someone.
Okay.
So when you have these conversations, you shared with us a couple of times when you're giving your explanation. I'm in my head going, get to the point, get to the point, get to the point. Every breath, every sentence. Listen, if yesterday, I'm going to talk about something highly emotional. If yesterday was the last day, your last day, can't happen, right? It can't happen. Yesterday's already gone. If yesterday was the last day you had with your husband, how much would you absolutely just sit in awe of his slower pace? Would you hang on every word?
Yeah, absolutely everything.
And you wish that it would slow down, because maybe what if the next level of his life, the next time of his life on this planet, it was based upon how long you could listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
It would change everything. So I want you to picture the next time you're having a conversation with a prospect, with somebody that you look to bring into your energy, into your field, into your community. Have a conversation with them. Don't picture you driving by in the car that's going to get them to their success. But you're driving by at 90 miles an hour with the passenger door open, yelling at them, get in! Get in! right? And maybe you're sitting there right around them, but you're doing donuts around them. Who's going to jump in a car doing all of the smoke of the donuts going, I'm here, I'm still doing 90 miles an hour, but now I'm just spinning in your orbit. Get in. We got to go. Go where? And then you pull up to the next light and go, okay, we're here. What the hell was that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
So just
and you know that when you were talking about the moment and all that, it brought some, internal emotions, because my eyes were actually watery a little bit and I could feel it because, we live life so fast and sometimes, we miss this precious moment. Like, for instance, yesterday my mom came visiting and I was touching her hair. She's 80 years old and she's super active, very healthy. But I was, touching her hair. And this morning I was thinking, like, oh my God, I touched her hair, but I didn't tell her I love her. And it's like we missed out sometimes in these moments. And I'm so grateful she's here with us. But you never know what next day it's going to be. You're going to have a next day. So I was listening to the call, I said, like, you know what? After Sean's call, I'm going to call her and let her know. Thank you for reminding me to be in the moment.
I'm going to go to Lio here, but what I want you to do is right now, call her.
Mm-hmm.
Hear it right now. Don't stop. So you're going to pick up your phone. You're going to jump off the call, do whatever, but go call her now. Don't wait.
Okay.
Because it showed up. Listen, it showed up. You said, I'm going to call her after the call. I'm going to encourage you, take action on it sooner rather than later. You're not going to make me upset by jumping off the call or doing whatever you need to do. Do it now. When those things, listen, folks, when you get those little inklings for your family members, for those love things, nothing I'm saying too important. Nothing I'm doing is more important than you absolutely awakening to your family. So I'd encourage you. You get to choose whether you do it or not. I'd encourage you to do that. Great question.
Thank you, Sean. Love you all.
Okay. Lio on line 4. We got Lio, the music man.
My big brother Sean. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Top of the morning, everybody. Another amazing day with not only you, Sean, but this extraordinary community of misfits. I love that. I love that title.
That's what we is.
That's what we is. This call, as always, is always so tremendous. I feel like every single day that I'm on the call with you, Sean, you touch you just pull at a string that definitely puts me into emotional reflection, which I do journal about. And one of them this morning is about my mom. I would not be anyone or anywhere in my life if it wasn't for my mom. First of all, single parent, super strong, worked 2 jobs, went to school while I was young, and felt like the best way to keep me off the streets was to put me into a dance academy. So that's how I became the dancer I am today. And what I've noticed is that as I've gotten older, my mom is so eccentric and so childlike. You remind me of my mom so much, Sean. So childlike, and she just has this joy and zest for life. And sometimes it could be over the top. It could be overwhelming. And what I've noticed is as I gotten older, my listening for my mom has gotten to a point where it's almost like Gisella's like, hurry up, get to the point. Because my mom, I don't get to see my mom as often as I used to. So when I do see her, she lives in the Bronx, I live in New Jersey. So when I go see her, it's like she stops everything just to be with me. For me, even when I'm with my mom, I don't drop everything. And I've come to the realization it's because my mom has gotten the way that my mom speaks, sometimes it becomes so heavy for me. And then in my heart and my mind, I want to be there for her, but sometimes I don't know how. And she's 68 now, so she as much as she still is living life, life is being very hard on her in like her physical. She has fibromyalgia and all these other things. these ailments that makes her feel mentally frustrated and also very negative. And that's where I start tuning her out, and I'm not really listening for her. And I can see that sometimes she sees I'm not paying attention and I'm not present. And then now I'm thinking, wow, where do I do that in my life? And there's times with my lady, my love, that she's speaking to me, and my mind is like on a million other things. Okay, I gotta get onto Sean's call. I gotta trade. I gotta build my team. I gotta go get ready for my dance class. Like, there's so many different things that I'm doing that I oftentimes don't stop to breathe and pay attention. And I just want to say thank you for bringing this realization to me, because now I'm looking for ways how I can open up my heart, not just my ears, but my heart to the people around me, so I can be more present for them, because they need me, and as much as I need them. So thank you.
So here's a question for you. How good of a dancer would you be if you weren't in the moment?
I'm sorry, Sean, repeat that one more time.
How good of a dancer would you be if you weren't in the moment?
Oh man, I would be terrible, because I would always be thinking.
So here's a skill you've worked on since childhood, because your mother cared enough about you to make you be that boy who's in dance school. Right? That made you tougher, right?
I mean, at that age, I didn't even know, like as a boy, like, I mean, all this, that's crazy.
Tough boy from the Bronx going to dance school.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have the skill, brother. And the challenge is because you're not hearing the music. When you hear the music, you instantly focus on the moment. So I would encourage you, what music, when you start to listen to people, imagine the song that's going to play as their background music, as their dance music. So when you listen to me, when you're listening to my conversations, what music would you say shows up? Because it's putting you into the student mode. It's putting you into the listening mode. So what song would you say when you listen to me, when I show up and you go, I'm going on Sean's call, what music would you say right now, if you had to guess, what music would start playing?
Tower of Power, P-Funk, Parliament.
Okay, so that's my music. So when you listen to your bride, what music's going to start playing?
She likes bachata. She likes salsa. So it'll be that. Yeah.
So, but do you see the smile that's on your face now? Going to listen to your bride?
Yeah.
Before you're like, I got to listen to my bride. Now you're going to get to listen to that music. You're going to get to listen to their song, and you get to now physically dance around their questions and dance with their questions. Right? And sometimes the dance move requires you to do what? To throw them away, to spin them away. That's when that's when you cause people to engage in their own mind. Does that change the way you can hear things now?
Most definitely. Thank you for that paradigm shift.
So when you're going to call your mom, when you call your mom, there may be a different music playing than when you're sitting with your mom.
I'm gonna go visit her. I'm gonna go visit her, maybe today or on Wednesday.
You get to say this to your mom. I need you to hear this, and some of you this may make sense too as well. But when you go to see your mom today, literally grab both of her hands and tell her thank you. Say, I got to speak about you today. I got to brag on you today, Mom. There were 85 people on this call this morning that got to hear the story of my mom today. So thank you. I teared up, brother. That's your mom. Your mom's here. My mom's not. But my mom is sitting on my shoulder right now because your story made her show up for me. My point is this. You get to go brag on your mom. Say, thank you for making me this amazing, sexy soul. Thanks for doing things that I had no idea. I used to think you were just a pain in my tuchus when I was little. But I got to brag on you. And here's the other thing. Let me tell you this, brother. You want to make your mom feel better? You change your state, because you're made up of how much of your mom? 50%?
99%.
99, but 50% of her body, her DNA sits in you. So if you have an amazingly 100% good day, half of her body, half of that energy, for every time that you're sitting at 100%, half of it goes back to your mom, half of it goes to your dad, wherever he's at.
Right.
But half of it goes to your mom, and you're not going to shortchange your mom because you're worried about, well, my dad wasn't here, this, that, or the other. However it happened, we passed away, whatever the story is. But you want to get rid of your mom's fibromyalgia, a dis-ease, a body not in ease. Just picture your body not in it, and your body has all of the cure for it. And send that to your mom. You don't even need to be sitting next to her. Everybody drop some hearts in there for Leo and her mom, for his mom, and for his entire family. Drop some hearts or sevens, whatever you guys do, whatever it is your code that you all use. And drop
I
those
love you all.
because now all of a sudden you changed. I bet if you asked your mom, hey mom, at 8:44 today, what were you doing? What did you feel? She's going to say, ay, mija, ay, blah, 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 whatever she says. That's because you tuned in, brother. You started to listen to us pour into you. And guess what? Your mom's always listening to you.
Yep.
So, what are you feeling right now?
I feel so much love that I can't even speak right now. It's crazy. I mean, no, it's not crazy. It is. It is because it's not normal. It's abnormal. I'm searching for a more defining word.
Tell me the music. What would the music be?
Oh man, the music is Bee Gees. That's my mom's Bee Gees. A little Fania All Stars. That's all mixed in with a little bit of Sadia and Tito Puente. It's unbelievable. I'm a Landmark graduate. I don't know if you ever heard of a Landmark Worldwide.
Everybody asks me if I've been to Landmark. I've not had the privilege of spending time inside of their walls, but no, I totally get it. I've had so many friends of mine who've gone to Landmark.
The technology from Landmark about 6 years ago helped break so many of these self-limiting conversations I've had with myself since I was young. My mom is very strong, but very vulnerable. And for me, I've learned how to be both because of her. And at the same time, also trying to find my way as a man has been interesting because I've somehow, some way in my life, I've been able to be introduced and surrounded by men like you, Sean. And in this point in my life, I've been searching for you in my 30s because of where I am in my next level of life. And as well as I got to say, Nano, I know you're on this call, bro. I love you, man. Thank you so much for showing me that it doesn't matter what your age is. It just matters where your soul is. And you guys have helped prime me up again because of where I'm at in my life. Everything is just, it's so amazing. I can't even explain it, but my mom is the reason why I'm doing this business, as well as my lady and my family. But my mom, because I want to show my mom that she gave me life, she gave me dance, and now I want to give it all back to her. And I know that she's very proud of me about what I'm doing with my dance career, but there's something that I feel that I still need to fulfill, and maybe that's just me, and I'm still running. But I know that my mom is super proud of me, and I just want to continue to make her proud.
So work on these two questions today. I'm going to encourage you. You choose whether you want to use them or not. Here's the two questions. I think we all would know the answer based upon how you've shared your love story with your mom. What would have to happen to you in your life for your mom to have enough courage to build a statue to you? I think the answer is it's already done. She would build a statue to you today.
Yeah.
And she does. She has probably pictures of you. She has a variety of things. She has her own little sanctuary of Leo. Here's the tough question. If your mom sees it, why do you think the rest of us don't? Smack.
Smack me twice, Sean. Smack me twice.
Now here's the rest of it. What would have to change in your story for the world to build a statue to you?
That I'm good enough.
Yeah. So how long have you been running your dance studio?
5 years now. Almost 5 years.
There's some families who have stayed together because of dance. There's some families who didn't have a divorce because of dance. There's a family who maybe they stopped yelling at their kids because you taught them dance. There's a child who's now 15 at 10 years old. His family, he thought his family didn't love him. She thought her family didn't love him because they came to your dance studio 5 years ago. All of a sudden, their family's a little bit better. I promise you, there's families that have been through your dance studio that would erect statues to you. They just didn't know they could. They didn't know they should. So let me ask you again: are you good enough?
I am, sir.
So, what would have to change for the world to build a statue to you today?
The questions I'm asking myself. Like, why am I so good at sharing love with people? Why am I so good at impacting people?
And now the hard part is they build a statue to you. Not to mention, you're an easy statue to build, right? It's easy to build sexy, and they don't have to put hair on it, so that's good.
You're making me blush, but you can't see it because I'm brown.
But what's the inscription going to say now? That's the one. When you go read it, so I want you, if you close your eyes at some point during the day, and you walk up to that statue, and you're like absolutely beyond on fire, and you read the inscription. What's your mom's first name?
Daisy, like the flower.
Daisy. So here's the inscription I just read when I walked up to your statue. Here's Daisy's boy.
You're gonna make me cry again, Sean.
Here's Daisy's boy, right? What's Les Brown say? Right?
Mammy's favorite boy.
Yeah, baby boy, all of that. So my point is, listen, every one of you, to the however many amazing souls, 76 of you that are sitting here now. The world is needing to raise a statue to you. Your life has been tragic enough. Your life has been triumphant enough. Your life has been challenging enough and championed enough. You deserve a statue right down in the center of town. And so do a lot of other people. So do a lot of people who are on your team. But sometimes you've been riding them so hard, they don't think that they deserve a statue. But you know they do. And part of the glory that you have is you wanting them to actually show up in the world so that we can take their picture with a statue. Sometimes they don't believe. Sometimes they don't believe a statue, they're statue worthy. But I can tell you, your stature, the way you carry yourself, the world is worthy of you carrying yourself at the highest level of excellence, the highest level of love, the highest level of goofiness. Enjoy your day and give Daisy a kiss from me on the cheek when you see her.
Will do. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, brother. What'd you learn? What'd you like from this little conversation?
Oh man. I'll say I'm gonna change it from like. I'm gonna just go what I love. What I love about this conversation is how real and genuine that I can be, not only with you, but with everyone on this call, without judgment, without.
Listen. There'll be people who judge. Listen, that's okay. We're gonna let them judge. The difference is that you say without judgment. It's without you having judgment.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I need us all to be clear, because there's going to be people saying, it's Leo. Look at him. He's sexy. He dances. He's got this family. He loves his mom. I don't have my mom. People are going to come up with 1,001 judgment. It's without you judging.
Then that's what I love, Sean. Me not judging myself, because I am quick. I mean, I'm an artist. I'm quick to criticize. I'm quick to judge myself. So that's what I really love about these calls, because I'm slowly releasing that from even my own, like just in my daily life, that resistance. And what I learned is to breathe and to be present.
And how many times have you said that to your students on the dance floor?
Oh my, Sean, you can ask my lady. Ask my lady when she gets on this call. You can ask her. I tell her every time, baby, are you breathing? When you turn, did you just breathe? You got to breathe when you shift. I'm like always talking about that. And then that's why today, this is what's making it so noticeable for me, is that I'm sharing that with everyone. I'm teaching that to everyone. I think about it. but now it's about me living it and being it. So.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Listen, folks, this is what active listening is. Everybody will reveal to you the secret they're hoping you don't find out. He's a teacher. I know he's going to teach people to breathe. I've never taught dance. How did I know he teaches people to breathe? Because he just said it. It's teaching me to breathe. Oh, how many times do you teach people to do that? All the time. Like, which one of us is an idiot in this conversation? I don't need to tell you nothing.
Mm.
This is why I've gotten brilliant at being able to remind you of everything.
My mentor, one of my greatest mentors, she said, the answer will always be in the question.
You want better answers? Ask better questions.
Yep.
Thanks, Leo, for sharing, brother.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, I love this. We get to do this. Julie! There's Julie, military background. Amazingly sexy, wildly beautiful.
All right, I'm here.
Good morning.
Excuse me. I'm at the gym, Sean.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But this conversation resonates so much with me because I don't know if you recall that I had an issue with like speaking super fast before, like when I first started the calls. And now I see, you know, like now I know that I've changed. I make sure that I listen before I speak, right? And when I'm speaking to people. However, I still struggle. No, I'm not gonna say that. I still believe I could get better at like how to stop listening to myself. Like just the negative, consistent thoughts because I get so frustrated because I'm like, oh, I know what I should be thinking, but I'm thinking the complete opposite. So my question to you, Sean, is how can I stop fighting them? Like, I don't know how to explain myself.
So which piece of equipment, what exercise were you just doing?
I was doing squats right now.
Okay. So doing squats, what muscles does that isolate?
Your legs.
Yeah. What were you doing them for?
What, can you repeat that, Sean?
What were you doing them for? Your squats. Were you doing them for your legs or were you doing them for your derriere?
For my legs.
Okay. So could you have been doing a squats and going, why aren't my arms getting any stronger?
I could have done that, yeah.
Yeah, but you could have, but why didn't you? But why did you need to focus on your legs? Because that's where the resistance was going to make them stronger, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So next time you get into a conversation, just figure out which conversation you're isolating. Figure out what muscle in this dialogue are you going to isolate? Because would people in the gym have like moved away from you if you were doing squats going, why aren't I don't feel this in my arms?
Yeah.
People be looking at you going, girl, you've gone around the bend. So figure out what you're going to isolate.
All right, so you're saying to just focus. I don't know, I'm confused.
So what's the next exercise you're going to go to? After squats, you're going to do what?
I'm going to do lunges.
Okay, and what's that for?
That's for my legs as well.
Yeah, but it's a different part in your leg, right?
Yes, it's focusing a lot on my hands, on my quads.
On your quads, so that's focusing on your quads. How do you know the lunge focuses on your quads? Because you feel it there, right?
Yes.
Can you do a lunge and not feel it in your quads? If you do the lunge wrong, could you not feel it in your quads?
If I do it wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't be able to.
Yeah, you'll not be doing a lunge. So my point is that every time you go to do an exercise, you know what muscle group it's supposed to isolate. Yes or yes?
Yes.
When you have a conversation, decide what dialogue you're going to isolate. Decide what you're going to activate. What result you want from this? Do you want to inspire somebody? Do you want to motivate somebody? Do you want to course correct somebody? Do you want to help them adjust their sail? Do you want to educate them? Do you want to give them recognition? What is the next dialogue you're about to have? What is the group of success, the success group that it's going to isolate? Is it going to isolate recognition, motivation, rank advancement? Follow me? You
Perfect, perfect, yeah.
you haven't isolated your dialogue to figure out which one you're going to go talk about. That makes sense.
You're so right, Sean. Like I struggle with, like my focus. So like my head is like the conversations I have with myself, they're like 100 miles per hour. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It's so true. Thank you
And
so
part
much,
of
Sean.
it, during the course of the day, when you have dialogues, what would you say the majority of the people you speak to, what gender are they? Are they male or female?
The majority of people that I speak to are males.
So what do you think? Listen now, because of your military training, because of your being trained up as a girl, a beautiful girl, don't you think that at a subconscious level, your brain is constantly reading their micro expressions of whether they're thinking they're going to get your numbers, whether they're checking your body out, like, hey, my eyes are up here, right? Those kinds of things.
Yes, Sean, that is so true.
So now that you're doing that, you can't even isolate your dialogue of success, what success muscle you're going to activate, because you're too worried about them checking your body out, being this piece of meat, being this little thing. And you do things to try to tone that down. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is listen through their confusion. And when you slow down, see, when you're running along at 1,000 miles an hour, they can be looking everywhere on your body.
I love you, Sean.
When you slow down, they have to pay attention to your eyes.
That is so true, Sean.
Because they know in the silence, they can't be checking you out. They got to be paying attention.
That's even when I speak to them on the phone, like my thoughts, like my subconscious mind is thinking like, okay, I need to make sure that I bro them or that I tell them, that I'm not interested in a relationship so that they can take me serious. Whoa. I just had an aha moment right now.
I love you.
Thank you, Sean.
From our first conversation of you sitting in the park. I appreciate you so much.
Do you have time for another observation, Sean?
Go ahead, Bob.
What I got from Jelani's offering there was that she was having trouble paying attention to her prospects or the people that she was interacting with, as opposed to paying attention to what's going off in her head. And I think to some extent, this whole topic of listening today, we can benefit from a little metaphor that you offered early on, but didn't elaborate on. And that was, when we're eating spaghetti, we're not just enjoying the taste of spaghetti, but we could be excited about the whole idea of eating spaghetti. So the point being that if we step back and we can start with ourselves, by paying attention, stepping back from our own experience of ourselves and asking, what is the meaning of this conversation, this interaction, this experience that I'm having right at the moment? In other words, is it just the taste of the spaghetti? I love the taste of spaghetti, but am I also paying attention to the fact that I'm enjoying the whole meaning of my being able to eat spaghetti at the moment? So for Jelani, could it be that if she understands that metaphor and is able to say to her clients or prospects, whatever, or not say to, but take the position of listening for what is the meaning they're making at the moment, what's important to them? Because if she can be a listening for that meaning in her prospects, then she knows where to go with her responses, with her dialogue. So what I'm just suggesting that it kind of starts out with ourselves. It starts all the way back with, gee, I'm worthy of understanding myself. I deserve to understand fully my own experience in life and what I like and what I don't like. And nobody's going to tell me otherwise. For example, when you offered the suggestion of meeting this beautiful friend of yours was just the perfect image, a real goddess. And you later suggested that, well, it ended up being, you know, a relationship of loving. Some of you might not approve of it, but I can tell you for sure that the meaning I would make of my encounter with such a woman was not to offer her love, but I would be there to get something, and that is to enjoy the presence of an absolutely perfect woman. Yes, of course I would offer her love in the most highly developed ways, okay, in a psychological way. But I will not deny the fact that the meaning of my relationship with such a woman were when and if I encountered her would be to enjoy the presence of a totally highly developed in every way woman. So I'm there for myself. I'm you know, going to be honest and say it starts with me. What am I appreciating in the moment? What's really meaningful to me? And then build from there to understand what's going on in the person that I'm with, whether it's a prospect or I run into somebody beautiful like your friend.
You know, go ahead, Bob.
Well, that's basically it. That the trick is to become a listening first for myself and then for others.
So here's the key. Well, the story that popped up when Bob was just talking was, if you've ever been people watching, right? And in people watching, and a beautiful girl walks by, a beautiful guy walks by, and let's say a beautiful guy walks by, handsome, and he's got his 12 pack on his gut going, and he's walking by, and he just seems this amazingly wonderful soul. And you watch, and he's in his 20s, and you watch a 20-year-old look at him, and you see an 80-year-old woman who actually sees him as well, and she looks at him. Guess what? Guess what age the 80-year-old is? She's back at 20. 80-year-olds don't do that. 20-year-olds do that. And so instantly her body changes and she looks at her from her 20-year-old view. My point is this. In any situation, it does start with us, as Bob shared. It does start with us. And so if we start to listen to, what does this do for me, and how can I use my experience to enhance their experience? That would be awesome.
And the idea that you offered by the spaghetti example is just a metaphor for how our thinking can go. Paying attention to first our sensory responses, taste, smell, feeling, whatever, and then noticing that we can step back from any experience that we have and make a meaning about it. Not only am I enjoying the taste of the spaghetti, but I'm enjoying the fact that I get to enjoy the taste of spaghetti.
Yep.
So that little metaphor can be for me a model on which to hang our behavior that starts with ourselves, and then we can apply it to other people. Ask and being a listening for what is the meaning they're making out of their experience, and then we can go from there in a relationship, in a conversation or whatever.
Excellent. Love your perspective, Bob. Thanks you for always bringing it to the call. Thanks for being here, being one of the founding misfits. Appreciate you, brother. Ivan, let's go to Ivan on line 7. Ivan on line 7.
How's it going, Sean, man? I want to appreciate you for actually having me in this call, man. I'm actually 23 years old. I'm actually a full-time doing this network marketing. Is there any advice how to get myself in my own way?
Sure. Decide what your old way looks like and do it and go the other way. I know that sounds cheesy, but if you're not sure which way you're going, then, right, what's that thing they say? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Yeah.
So just decide what you're doing. So the feeling that you're having, the conversations that you're having, what would different look like? What would opposite look like? right now. I'd also ask you, what book are you currently reading?
Right now, I'm actually reading some book called Homeless to Billionaire by Andres Spira.
Okay.
He's actually a billionaire who actually moved into Thailand and built a real estate empire. But it talks a lot about like affirmations and stuff like that, believing in yourself, which is a good read.
So if I were to ask you to show me your journal, do you have a journal?
Yes, I have an affirmation journal. I have a the forest journal, and I have a mindset journal.
Okay, so I would encourage you to just put those all in one, because now you're trying to separate your life. You don't need all of those different journals, because you only need one journal to keep track of your life. Now, if all of a sudden, if you've lost one of those, you've lost a third of your life. I put them all in one, because you're building your business based on your life, not based upon your affirmations or your Forex or your life. So I would encourage you to just keep one. Now you can keep a notebook for ideas and concepts and for your note taking, but your journaling is your life. If I were to say you're going to at some point in life have children, you're going to pass on your legacy, how many books do you want to give them?
I feel like I want to give them all the knowledge that I acquired so they won't like suffer through what I suffered, you know?
Right. So then what I would encourage you to do is in your journaling, talk about how today is going to keep you from having to pass this, what you're going to change when you pass on to your children. With a sacrifice you're going through today, what is that allowing you to avoid in your life tomorrow?
I feel like it's just basically I'm trying to break like the family curses and the way of thinking of my family in the past.
What's the new story? What's the new story so right now you have some idea of success you want in your life, correct?
Yes.
So what's the new story? What would have to change today for you to live that today?
I feel like my belief system about myself, because I feel like I struggle with a lot of self-doubt. I feel like I get too much in my head where like I overthink stuff, or I feel like I'm not great sometimes, or just like, you know, like I feel like I can't be great because of situations I've been in the past or the people around me sometimes.
How many of you guys are ready for an awakening right now?
Sorry, what was that again?
I'm going to ask, so Ivan, I've got you on the phone. So real quick, Ivan, I need to ask you 3 questions. 1, do I have your permission to help?
Yes.
Do I have your permission to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable?
Yes, sir.
Do I have your permission to take you out of that uncomfortable feeling?
Yes.
Let me ask you a real serious question. Are you coachable?
Yes.
You want to stop like the world? You want to change the way that you feel that the world is making you feel less than, making you feel like it's talking down to you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm ready for that because I've been struggling with it.
Now, guys, listen, I need you all to hear this. You can choose to take this for what it's worth, but I'm going to ask you to stop holding your damn phone down here and hold it up here. I want you to hold your phone up. I'm going to ask you to put a little effort into your dialogue, because every one of you, I say you younger kids, hold your phone down here when you're talking to me. I'm guessing you hold it down here when you're talking to other. And here's what I'm saying. The reason that you're holding your phone down here is because you feel the world is talking down to you. You want to feel that you have power over your world. So you put the phone below you. You don't put it equal to you, and you wind up talking down to me every time you have a conversation. Here's the great news. I know how to deal with that. You know what happens when you get on a call and everybody else is seeing you talk down to them? You don't even look at the gosh dang screen. You look down every now and then. You want to talk about how you're sending out your message to the world? You're saying, you're lower than me. I'm going to look down at you. Maybe every now and then you'll get a chance to see my eyes. I'm going to ask you the next time you have a conversation with, hold the gosh dang phone up. You want to change the way you operate in this world? Give the world the respect it deserves. Give yourself the respect it deserves.
Wow. And that is true. I feel like, you know, because I feel like, I guess when it comes to frequency, I feel like I'm on a lower frequency. And when you go like this, I do feel like the difference in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we're going to do this tomorrow. Tomorrow, remind me to teach you the breathing exercise, that just a simple movement will change everything. We're going to talk about the breathing exercise to show how just holding the phone up changes the way Ivan is operating. Look at his face isn't as perplexed right now. There's a little bit of a smile on it right now. How many of us didn't know Ivan could smile?
I didn't even know myself. I just felt like, man, like I just always been like serious and not trying to, like, I feel like I always was going through this journey as an entrepreneur. Like it has to be like serious. But I guess I feel like the little difference when you say you got to be more yourself, I guess.
Do you see what happened? We just moved the freaking phone. I want to use so many cuss words right now because I get so agitated, but it ain't my life. I know how to deal with how you disrespect, how you respect me. Here's the thing. It's Maslow says, be independent of the good opinion of other people. I don't need your praises. I like them, but it ain't going to change my day. When somebody draws a penis and testicles on my screen like they did the other day, I'm like, how cool is that? When I get haters on YouTube and somebody disliked it, I'm like, awesome. I'm finally touching some hearts that somebody goes, you're an idiot. Awesome. Give yourself some respect, Ivan. You do not have to have the world talking down to you. Hold the gosh dang phone up. You're this amazing soul. We need to hear you.
You're right.
And it's not about me being right. That's just the energy. So I'm going to encourage you. You just changed the way you looked at things, didn't you?
Yeah, I really do. I feel it. Like, I mean, because like, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel scared even like raising my hand and just even getting on the phone. Like I watch your videos every morning, but I'm scared to talk in the camera or just like, I can feel it.
How do you feel? Listen, brother, listen. I'm going to put you side by side when we're talking here. When you talk, we're together. We're equals. You're teaching right now. You're teaching the 48 people who are left here, who hung out here and just heard this nugget, who just heard this gem. And you know who taught it to them, Ivan? You did.
Wow. Man, I feel the difference though. Like I feel the uncomfortableness about being like this, but I do feel like the confidence level going up a little bit more than where I was. Like, and I thank you for that.
And that's because we moved a freaking phone. See, you asked me. You asked me. Oh, what do you think I should do? You know what screamed in my head? Move the goddamn phone.
Wow.
but that because I needed to hear where you were. I needed to hear if you were ready. And now you're ready. And now you move the phone up. Please don't ever put it back down there. When you get around your hood and you get around your boys or you get around whatever and you hold the phone up here, they're going to go, dude, what are you doing with the phone? Listen, I'm taking control of my life. I'm not sure what y'all are doing. You don't have to tell them to move the phone. You just stay in your lane, brother.
Wow. Now, one last question too. So based on how you say, like, how would you feel confident in your own skin when you like either presenting the business or talking to people?
You tell them you're not confident. The reason that you're not feeling confident is because that's the vibration you're getting from your audience. I step on stage, it doesn't matter when. I step on stage and I've stood on stage thousands of times and I'll get out and go, I'm a little bit nervous. If I make a mistake, will y'all be there? Will y'all support me? If I make a mistake, can I count on y'all to just clap a little bit for me?
He could also get the book Quiet Mind, Epic Life by Matthew Ferry, because this is about the drunk monkey running amok.
Can you say that one more time so I can write it down? Give me one second.
Quiet Mind, Epic Life.
Epic Life.
By Ferry, Matthew Ferry.
Matthew Ferry.
It's about that part of your mind that's telling you all kinds of reasons why you shouldn't, why you can't, why it's going to be dangerous to go ahead and be yourself and be successful.
Oh my God, that's how I feel, man. Like I honestly always feel like that. I feel like there's always that little voice in my head telling me like, oh, you can't do something, or you're not great enough, or you were not built for this, or, you know, I always felt that. Even growing up, I felt that little voice or that fear in my head, like just, but I feel like I never knew how to turn it off or how to feel confident with myself. I guess it was something that is, I don't know, if it's just those fears that are always around me. I don't know if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, Matthew Ferry will alert you to that process, make it real clear. And when you understand that you don't have to believe every thought that you have, you don't have to honor every feeling that you have, that you get to have control. And you can ignore all that nonsense that the drunk monkey is trying to protect you. He got put in place to try to help you survive. But unfortunately, he thinks a little too highly of himself, and he's got too much information that isn't useful now that you're an adult. So you can learn to ignore him. Not to ignore the lessons maybe that he offers you for your protection, but you get to choose as the adult, as the executive self, when to be worried and when not to be worried. And that's pretty much what the book is all about. It's a pretty amazing source of wisdom, I think.
Yeah, I think that was a good message for me too, because like when I was hearing Leo talk earlier about how becoming, like, you know, how he was his age and stuff, I feel like me being 23, like I'm entering a stage where like I need to be a man too, and like I feel like, you know, it's like that growing process that I need to go through too, you know, as a man. And I feel like, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, like my dad was never around, so I guess I never really had that guidance in a way, but like now that you're telling me all this, it's kind of starting to make sense in my mind. We're like, yo, maybe that's why I have all this fears and growing process that I'm going through in a way, I guess.
Mine was around, and I still didn't get that information.
Wow.
So Ivan, how are you feeling right now?
I feel much better, honestly. I really do. Like just me holding the phone, I feel like my voice just got a little better, and just feel a little bit more confident.
Well, if we were to have Leo back on the phone, he would say posture is an important thing in dance. Anybody who does singing, posture is an important thing. Anybody who does speaking, posture is an important thing. And what you do is you cut off so much oxygen when you got to look down to me on the phone. You change the whole tone of your voice and everything. So I'm glad that you were coachable and you actually picked the phone up. So guess what's going to happen if I see your phone down next time we have a conversation?
The voice confidence is going to go up.
I will gently remind you. And here's what's going to happen. When you hold the phone up like this, when you're talking with your crew, they're going to hear something different because you're not doing this and everybody's looking down. It'll change things, brother. I promise you. It's just that simple. This is how success works. There's not a single script I could have taught you right now. That there's not a single lesson where it teaches you on how to have a Zoom. Hold your damn phone up. We're all worried about the script. We're worrying about the trading. We're worrying about the back office. We're worried about the comp. Hold the damn phone up. You want people to join you in your business? Hold the phone up. Let them flow into you. Who wants to have to flow up? Life is tough enough. I don't need to look up at you.
Wow, that was powerful.
Well, there you go. So did that help you? Did that answer your question? What should I do as an entrepreneur? Hold your damn phone up.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. We're going to go to Brandon, our last caller today. Brandon, you still there, brother? Brandon Moore? He might get back here in just a second. So Ivan, as we're waiting on Brandon, tell me one thing you learned, one thing you liked from our conversation we just had.
I love the fact that you made me get out of my comfort zone and actually made me realize that I am great in my own right in a way. And it was good.
Hello?
Go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, how's it going, Sean?
Outstanding.
I'm sorry for the loud noise. I'm actually at work right now, but I just wanted to get on the call. I've been on the call for a while, probably like maybe a couple months, and I just wanted to. Sorry. Yeah. I'm gonna check it right now. Sorry about that. Somebody just came up to me and talked to me. But anyway, I just wanted to thank, I believe it was the first gentleman that the dancer, I forget his name.
Lio.
I'm driving so much. Leo, I just wanted to really thank him for what he said.
You're welcome, Brandon.
It really reached me because my mom is pretty much like she went through the same thing, but she's very, very like inspiring, and like she has like so much positive things to say. And just recently she actually went through like she had a stroke, and so she had to go through the like rehab and everything, and she bounced back pretty quick, and now is out like going to the stores and stuff on her own and different things. And so your message really reached me a lot, and I just always think to myself, because I have a wife and a daughter as well, like am I really spending enough time with them? But my dreams and my goals for them is so powerful. So like I want so much for them and my mother as well. And so like I'm just always thinking to myself, like I see my daughter playing around and my wife playing with my daughter. I'm just like, man, I really wish that I can do that more. But I know that what I'm doing is really important, and it's so I can have more time with them. And so I just wanted to let you know, Sean know, and even Nan know that I really appreciate you guys. I'm like this call is my cup of coffee. I'm more of a tea guy, but it's my cup of coffee. And I just wanted to get on it and speak because every day I want to get on and speak, but my job sometimes doesn't allow me to do that. And so that's what I just wanted to get on and let you guys know.
Brandon, thank you, brother. We love you. Everybody throw up some hearts for Brandon. He may not be able to see him because he's working, but throw up some hearts for Brandon. I know he's been on the call for a while. I love his bow tie. But we appreciate
it.
Love
appreciate it. Love you too.
Hey, folks, I'd say that was a good call. Another 2 hours. Oh, my goodness. Do you realize, like, in the last day, we put 4 hours, 5 hours of work into yourself since Saturday, Sunday, and today, 7 hours of work if you've been on every call. Who's doing that in the world? Who's putting 7 hours into sharpening their own saw? This group is. The misfits are. People who are accelerating at an exponential rate are. So welcome to that club. I appreciate y'all. I'm Sean Murphy, the founder of this misfit group. But listen, if I didn't have you all, I'd be out for a walk. I wouldn't be leading anybody. So thanks for letting me be a part of your life today. Thank you, everybody who shared. Thank you for all of the joy. And you know what? I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Till then, say goodbye to each other.
Everyone have a blessed day. Hey,
Bye,
Sean, what's happening, buddy?
All right, see y'all, everybody.
Everyone.
Happy Monday, everyone.
Have a great day. Love you guys.
Love you all.
Have a great
Bye.
All right. See y'all in the morning.